So I finally got the Brax3 phone in the mail, but when I picked up the package, I also got an email from privatephoneShop.com, and they claim that this phone could land me in federal prison for 5 years with a federal felony. Now, according to privatephoneShop.com's email, a lot of customers are having connectivity issues, to which Brax3 says you just need to change the IMEI number. And that is a federal offense. So let's check it out. Will this phone actually work or not? So this is not going to be your typical unboxing video, but what I do want to do is go through the email that privatephoneShop.com sent and read it out loud as I unbox this phone. Brax3 review, $400 for a felony conviction. You've probably seen the hype around Rob Braxman's new Brax3 phone. Privacy-focused hardware, de-googled Android, the works. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for alternatives to big tech surveillance, but when privacy solution creates more problems than it solves, we need to talk. Now, this is very funny. They sent me the screen protector and the phone case, but they also sent me a screen protector with the phone case in the package earlier. Did I pay for it extra somehow? I have no idea. Whatever. I'll take it. Thank you so much. The Brax3 shipped 3 months late, but not before Braxman hit customers with an extra $50 fee for shipping and tariffs that nobody saw coming. I don't know what it's talking about. I didn't have to pay it. I think it's for EU customers or whatever, but I think they ended up actually eating those costs. Moving on. When it finally arrived, users discovered that something is interesting. It doesn't work with most phone networks. Also interesting, huh? The Brax3 looks suspiciously similar to the Vivo Y28, a budget-grade phone from India. So, that's what we're talking about. Okay, I got you. Not bad, India. You gain these before we in the States do. I'm talking about basic connectivity issues. Many users are also reporting they can't even connect to their home Wi-Fi routers. The kind of problems that make a phone not a phone. Here's where it gets worse. Braxman's official response to network compatibility issues? Change your IMEI number. That's a felony in the US. Modifying your international mobile equipment identity is illegal under federal law, up to 5 years in prison, if you're wondering. So now you've got a privacy phone that 1. Costs $50 more than advertised, 2. Appears to be rebranded budget hardware, 3. Doesn't work, and 4. Comes with instructions to commit a crime. Brilliant! Your IMEI identifies your specific device to cellular networks. It's how carriers prevent stolen phones from connecting. It's also how law enforcement tracks devices in criminal investigations. Changing it doesn't make you more private. It makes you a criminal. Real privacy doesn't require breaking federal law. If your solution involves felonies, you're doing it wrong. A de-googled Pixel 7 works perfectly with every major carrier. Wi-Fi connects instantly, apps run smoothly, you'll get all the privacy benefits without the legal risks. These aren't theoretical phones that might ship one day. You can have one in your hands by the end of next week. The Pixel 7 hardware is solid, with plenty of support. You can actually find a case or a screen protector for it. Privacy shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't involve waiting months for a delivery, and it definitely shouldn't involve surprise fees or federal crimes. A properly configured Pixel 7 gives you everything the Brax3 promises, with none of the headaches. It ships immediately, it works with your carrier, it connects to Wi-Fi like a normal phone. Because that's what privacy tools should do, protect you without creating new problems. And he's got a link to a Pixel 7, and he says, if you're tired of waiting for vaporware privacy phones, there's a real solution available today. Let me check out their phone here. Bro, privatephoneShop.com. Your link didn't even work. Okay, Pixel 7, $400. Cool. I mean, probably a nice phone alternative, and it has IO OS in it. That is great. And let's compare this to the Vivo. I don't know if that's necessarily similar. Around the camera, it's definitely different. So, with that said, let's turn it on. The moment of truth is right here. Is it just me, or is it a very long startup? IO Day Tech. Okay. Powered by Lineage OS. Okay, so let's see here. Yes, we are in the United States. I'll do United States. Let me see. I'm gonna try to call. The phone does call. I just don't have data. I might have been wrong this whole time. There is a toggle that when you connect on the T-Mobile network, it won't actually auto connect you to it. So I literally had to toggle on the switch to connect. As soon as I did that, well, guess what? Then I finally have my data. Let's see if data works. Search for Donut Media, car channel that some of you might know about. Cool, great. Everything works. Sweet. I'm going to pause that. So data does work. All right. I'm connected to my T-Mobile or Mint network, which uses T-Mobile's towers. This works. Let's see if it connects to Wi-Fi. Put in my password. It's connected. Okay, cool. Let's search for Linus. If you don't follow Linus, you don't know who Linus is, I don't know where you've been. All right, so 16 million subscribers, 16.5 million subscribers. Okay, let's click that video. Cool. Wi-Fi works, data works, Ethernet adapter works on one of them. It does not work on the other one. Now, with this Ethernet adapter is that I have a Ethernet adapter / charger run through a splitter. Now, this is the one that didn't work. It's a USB 3 with a USB-C. One of them is supposed to be charging, another one's supposed to be data. Obviously, the charging one, I put the USB-C charging cord, and over here I put the data with a USB-C Ethernet adapter with one of these things to make sure that it's all connected. I can share a video with you to give you an example of what I'm talking about. What happens is when you use a Ethernet cable adapter on your phone, it actually drains the battery faster. And the fact that it's not giving me a charge, that sucks. But let's just double check a video works. This is my friend Felipe's S2000, and this S2000. Cool. So in one of these adapters, I am getting data on it, but if I plug in a charger, the data gets lost. But I did get power. I guess in this case, I'll have to charge it here, but use the data here, which is kind of annoying because I really love the fact that I used to get data and charging all via the same cable. I guess that's something that I'll have to ask the Brax community online to see if anyone has a solution that allows you to charge the Brax3 at the same time and for it to receive internet, if someone has an adapter that they know of that actually works. So with that aside, at least I'm satisfied that I don't have to break no law. I don't have to change no IMEI from another phone in order to make sure that this phone works. Now, another thing that I noticed in this phone, it has a 5G built in by default. All right, it connects to the 5G network, but I am not getting as good reception on this phone as I did with my Brax2. I'm getting like 2 bars, 1 bar over here. Now, if I go to network, change it from 5G to 4G, I guess I'll do LTE, 4 bars. I'm totally satisfied with that because by default I'm using 4G anyway. I would prefer that over 5G. I'm not convinced that 5G is safe. Cool, so it works. Now, if you want to check out a 5G video, Scotty's tech.info. He has a few very cool videos that breaks it down. With that said, whoever is running private phone shop, I would love to get you on a channel and just pick your mind to see, your background of how you got in it. I personally chose Brax, his phones, because when I was searching for these for the very first time, he's the first one that popped up. Well, guess what? That's who I bought the phone from. And again, thanks to Scotty's tech.info, because he had introduced me to the whole idea of a privacy phone, de-googling your life, or using a dumb phone instead of a smartphone, and that led me into a rabbit trail, and I ended up finding Brax Tech or Rob Braxman's YouTube channel and kind of got immersed in the whole privacy phone world. So yeah, it just happened. He happened to be there selling these phones, doing these phones way earlier than privatephoneShop.com. But there's a few points in this letter that I think is very interesting. Okay, the whole Vivo phone. Okay, I guess it kind of looks similar, but I'm not. Yeah, I mean, at least the front looks very similar to the screen, but I am not convinced that these guys are biting off each other. It looks like the bottom area over here of the phone on the Vivo is a larger screen area than this phone. The back cameras, yes, they look similar, but yet not quite, because the flash is on the upper corner here, and the flash on the Brax phone is right here in the middle of between the two cameras. And just like the rim that they have, this one is like circled all around, but this one is like more rectangular, and it looks a little thinner than Brax phone does. Whatever, I mean, like, you're free to make that claim. The whole thing about $50, like, yes, they did say it that one time because of the tariffs. We'll have to pay another $50. They'll be sending out forms. They ended up not doing that. At least maybe on one of the Indiegogo contributors for when the campaign was live. I don't know. Maybe for other people, they have to pay for it when they ordered the phone after the Indiegogo campaign ended, and they were still able to buy the phone. But maybe it's those people that pay the extra $50. I don't know. If you were one of those people, let me know. Drop it down in the comments if you actually paid the $50. I guess the whole IMEI thing. So in my Brax3, I had an issue when it didn't work at one time, and I flashed it to an IMEI number of a phone that I do have that works. So is it illegal? Well, I own the phone. It's not stolen. Questionable if that's illegal or not illegal, but I know the phone is not stolen, so I just don't even use that phone anymore. I flashed it on my Brax3, or it might have been even the Brax one. I don't remember at this point. It worked. It recognized the IMEI number, and my network received it, understood it, and it's fine. Using IMEI numbers of other phones, okay, yeah, maybe that's a questionable terrain to really break down to see if that's actually a valid case to receive a federal felony on you and be 5 years in federal prison. I'm not sure, but just judging the way that the U.S. government is running right now, I think that's one of their least concerns of a bunch of small fish in the pond privacy phone enthusiasts that are doing this to their phones. And so far, everything worked for me. I don't know who those people are that are having issues with connectivity, that they're being told to change IMEI numbers. But again, there are many carriers out there, and I am not surprised that if one of those carriers don't work. It worked for my T-Mobile or Mint SIM, Mint Mobile, that works off the T-Mobile network. And if you have T-Mobile, I guess it will work for you as well. If you have another phone carrier that does not work yet, drop it down in the comments below. That way, this serves as a resource outside of a Brax Tech support form website, so that people actually know. So yeah, and then Pixel 7, I guess what really sucks about the Pixel 7 and or even the most recent Pixels, that there has been news that Google locked out, so in the Android open source code, Google actually locked access to the newest Pixels. So now developers, whether it's I don't know about iOS, but I know the folks at Graphene OS, and they have a big issue that they're facing with, and not being able to install Graphene OS on the newest Pixel phones, because Google closed that code in the Android open source version of Android for them to do. I guess I'm sure it could be reverse engineered. I mean, there are crazy gurus out there doing this kind of stuff. But at this point, like, yeah, buying a Pixel 7 $400, I think it's a good deal. You should definitely do that and not mess with any of these weird IMEI swapping phone numbers. Yeah, so that's my only kind of rebuttal to it. Not against or support, but just like from my experience, that so far I didn't have to break the law in this case. So with that said, yeah, I'm definitely going to do another video after I use this phone for a week or two and just give my honest impressions about it. My first honest impression about it is that everything works, it connects. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how your Brax3 phone works for you. Let me know what you think about Privacy Phone Shop email that he sent out. And if you are from privacyphoneshop.com, I would love to get you on a channel. Let's have a conversation about this. In my previous videos, I've mentioned you guys, and I think your newsletters are awesome. You provide very valuable information, and you do a sales pitch at the very end that's not corny in any way. I just love it. I mean, you guys are good, and this email serves as a perfect example of you providing very valuable information that I gleaned and gained another perspective and learned something from. But all your other emails are amazing. Like, I give you mad props, whoever is writing them. If you're writing them or you're having someone else write these emails and newsletters in your emails, they're legit. They're not corny in any way, and I genuinely want to buy your product. I'm looking for that. The Linux ThinkPad, the laptop. Anyway, but of course I can do it myself. But either way, like, I'm looking forward to buy that from you. So thank you so much for providing this information, and that's the whole point of the Googled Life. I wanted to explore these things, bring these things in the privacy arena to people's awareness, so then after learning about it, people can make their own decisions about what kind of privacy hardware they want to use, how they are de-Googling their life, and which way they want to go. In general, I think the industry is expanding. There's more awareness of it. The whole idea of privacy tech expands and becomes a household kind of idea. So thank you so much for tuning in, experiencing this opening and testing of the Brax3 phone. My first impressions were very limited, but after a few weeks of testing this phone, I'll definitely do another video to give you my honest impression, feedback of this new Brax3 phone. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know. This is the Google's Life. This is a Google shirt back from 2017. I designed this thing for a conference when I used to work for Google. Look, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not, hating on Google. It's just like, I wanted to throw the shirt away, but whoever the vendor that they used to do these shirts, they're like so comfortable. Like from 2017, and I'm still wearing the shirt because it's so comfortable. Like, hey, good job. You picked very good vendors for your merch and the shirts you gave out in your conferences. Appreciate it. But yeah, Measurement for Growth, Partner Summit 2017, the Google Analytics 360 Suite. Yeah, later on they were changed to the Google Marketing Platform. Anyway,